Welcome to Tech Surge News, where we bring you the latest in the world of science and technology. In this video, join us as we explore futuristic and groundbreaking tech that'll definitely knock your socks off.
Today, we will talk about something we take for granted every day because we think it's always going to be available. Very soon, though, we'll realize that it actually is not. According to the World Wildlife Fund, or WWF, by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population may face water scarcity. Droughts caused by global warming are to blame. Water scarcity is looming in the southwest United States, and water is fueling wars all over the world. So, how are we going to get out of this deep water? Desalination technologies are proliferating. Solar domes in the desert, for example, or nanomembranes that make seawater drinkable in minutes. Let's look at how nanotechnology can help to solve the freshwater crisis. Before delving into the trove of new nanotechnologies, let's zero in on the water crisis for a moment. It helps to set the stage for why this could be transformative. Many regions are dealing with higher temperatures and less rainfall as a result of climate change. This is a deadly combination that depletes our water reserves. The southwestern United States is a prime example of this. The average temperature in some southwest regions has risen up by up to 2 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 20 years. Furthermore, the entire region has become drier since 1990 as a result of moderate to severe droughts. According to a 2020 study, this pattern was caused by the first mega drought caused by climate change in the southwestern states. This is the region's second driest spell in the last 1,200 years, according to researchers. What is happening here is also happening in other parts of the world, which should come as no surprise. But how does this impact our water resources? Lake Mead provides fresh water to 40 million people in 7 southwestern states. That is where 90% of Las Vegas' water come from. Lake Mead, which was formed by blocking the Colorado River with the Hoover Dam, is also a hydropower facility producing enough clean energy for 8 million Americans. While it remains one of the world's biggest water reservoirs, this enormous pool is becoming increasingly depleted by the year. The Colorado River's flow has decreased by about 20% over the last century. It may contract by up to 31% by the middle of the century. This shortage is caused by more than just a lack of water falling from the sky. Scientists discovered that higher temperatures also play a significant role. Snow is melting in the Colorado Rocky Mountains as the region warms. The snow-free patches absorb more sunlight and heat up, causing more water to evaporate from the land and be released by plants. All of these mean that less water will flow into the river and eventually reach the lake. Since 2000, the dam has dropped by 140 feet or 44 meters above the so-called dead pool level, which is when water cannot be released from the dam. As a result, this affects not only drinking water, but also electricity generation. But who are the most thirsty culprits of the global water scarcity? If you're considering reducing your consumption of drinking water, don't even bother. Continue to drink your gallon of water per day. Drinking, washing, and toilet flushing account for only 8% of our annual freshwater consumption. So, what is the outcome of all this water consumption? It's a lower energy production for Lake Mead, with the Hoover Dam's energy efficiency declining by 25% after reaching its lowest water capacity. And of course, there is less water available for people to use in the Southwest. Last August, the US government declared Lake Mead's first ever water shortage. Water supply will be reduced as a result, and some farmers may be forced to abandon land cultivation. Arizona will lose the lion's share of Colorado's water supply, which amounts to about 8% of the state's total water usage for agriculture and human consumption. That is why the state is considering building a desalination plant on Mexico's Sea of Cortez.
Let's take a short break real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, then why don't you give us a comment down below, because we at TechSurge News would love to hear what you think. Also, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to TechSurge News while you're down there. On to the video.
According to the UN World Bank, drought could force 700 million people to flee their homes by 2030. A massive climate migration could cause political instability around the world, and it has already occurred. The Pacific Institute compiled a list of 925 water conflicts dating back to the Babylonian civilization. They concluded that agriculture was at the root of the majority of the wars. According to research, water-related conflicts have increased roughly fivefold in the last century. So, how can we get out of this? This is where technology can help. With surface fresh water slowly running out, and underground pools being prohibitively expensive to access, everyone is diving into seawater, which makes sense given that it contains 97% of the Earth's water resources. Over the last 40 years, the number of desalination plants have grown substantially. The traditional technique known as reverse osmosis, on the other hand, has some limitations. In reverse osmosis, seawater is forced through a semi-permeable membrane that traps the salts while allowing pure water to pass through. Isn't it simple? Yes, but it is energy intensive. Typically, you'd use fossil fuels to generate the high pressure required to make it work. This equates to 76 million tons of CO2 emitted annually by desalination plants worldwide. If we don't find a low-carbon alternative, this will increase to 500 million tons of CO2 per year by 2040. But there's another environmental cost to consider. The byproduct of the reverse osmosis process is a highly concentrated salt solution known as brine, which is currently dumped into the ocean. Because it is heavier than seawater, this slurry settles into deep waters where the salt overload consumes oxygen, killing marine wildlife. A reverse osmosis plant can generate up to 2 liters of brine for every liter of clean water produced. A recent study found that its output is 50% higher than previously estimated. However, someone is attempting to mitigate the environmental consequences, taking up 22% of the global brine disposal technology market. In essence, many large mirrors focus sunlight onto a glass semisphere, and then a localized greenhouse effect will vaporize the seawater found within a metallic giant pot. The steam is then pumped out and condensed into clean water. According to the developers, the plant will run entirely on solar energy, making it carbon neutral. However, there is still the issue of the waste brine. They intend to extract salts for use in lithium battery components, fertilizers, or grit. But there are some major questions surrounding this, so it's probably best to remain doubtful. The pilot plant, which is expected to be completed by the end of this year, will provide answers to some of these questions. Solar domes, however, are not the only alternative to reverse osmosis. New materials are also being used in membrane distillation, which is more eco-friendly. According to our research, membrane distillation is the separation of 2 solutions at different temperatures using a microporous membrane. In this case, salt water and fresh water are involved. EnergyX recently raised $20 million in funding to further develop its direct lithium extraction or DLE technology. Water shortages could be a tsunami for our society's future. Clearly, we must emphasize the importance of fresh water and practice more responsible consumer participation. However, the expansion of sustainable desalination technologies is critical. But what are your thoughts? Do you believe these new nanotech freshwater solutions will be beneficial? Please let us know in the comments.
Thank you for staying around till the end of the video. To keep on hearing from us, feel free to subscribe down below and hit the bell button to get the latest notifications. Tech Surge News signing out.